Unexpected strong trip. Introduction. It has been years since I tried tripping on Dextromethorphan. Last time, the product contained guaifenesin and induced severe nausea, vomiting, and vertigo immediately at the onset. I had tried DXM about 4 times prior years ago with strange dissociative and perceptual experiences I found enjoyable. On the night before the trip, I picked up a bottle of Walgreens generic Delsum, DXM Polistirex as the only active ingredient in the syrup. Now, being old enough to legally purchase DXM products in my state, I was eager to visit the Dextroverse, psychonauts call it. 1 p.m. On the next day in the afternoon, I was way too excited/lazy to extract it, despite how simple it is with Polistirex I read. So I added the nasty shit sauce into the measuring cup to slightly over 15 milliliters, which was around 100 milligrams. I was too frightened to try more because I find it somewhat altering at even therapeutic dose range for cough suppression. So I added to a half full Sprite can to dilute it, and I drank it quickly over the course of about 10 minutes. 2:10 p.m. Onset. This is not placebo. Like a right hook, it hits me. Oh my, I'm coming up. I immediately started feeling confused by what I was feeling emotionally. I wasn't sure. I was just excited, but also fearful. Was I a bit anxious? What if this is some kind of new emotion? It could have pertained to my concern of not wanting my parents to find out I was tripping, but at the time, it must be a sign to something greater, something deep inside my subconscious mind. I thought, then concluded. Next thing I remember, I smoked a couple one-hitter bowls. This was not a wise decision, as it increased the negative and mixed emotional feelings as well as startling levels of dissociation. 3:30 p.m. Increasing dissociation and analysis suppression. Suddenly, I lost my ability to analyze things and come to conclusions. The state of cognitive and physical opioid-like euphoria and dissociation like I had never felt. I lost all will/skill to judge things. I had no idea that this is what was happening. In fact, I didn't know what happening was or what was what. Language and thought lost significance, and I could not process sensory input or function voluntarily, on my own terms/decision. Feelings of doom came and went in waves of minutes to longer periods of euphoria and anxiolysis. Infrequent mild auditory hallucinations present, such as my dog barking or whining, or the sound of something falling or spilling. Those are the only external hallucinations I recall. 4 p.m. Peak evident. In retrospection. Everything about me at this point had become completely automatic. I was watching external me and the external world through my own eyes. However, I was simultaneously another me inside my own head. I cannot see it, just feel, wherein I felt anxious and helpless in that nothing is in my control anymore, forever, whilst external me functioned just fine, in retrospection. It was like this external me was my alter ego, my mirror opposite, enthusiastic, how I act every day usually. I thought that was the real me, but I retrospect that I was being my conscious and observing me, instead of vice versa in sober life. 7:30 p.m. Pseudo-amnesia? Odd memory gap and time acceleration. The strangest thing is that I was aware of what happened from 4 to 7:30 p.m. pretty thoroughly, but only at that exact moment those things happened, which to me, by 7:30 and now the next day, never existed at this point. Maybe it was because I ended up sleeping poorly, but I got at least 6 hours for just that night. I should have the memories intact. Continuing, by 7:30, I thought, wow, where did the damn time go? I recalled some events, but currently I do not recall anything between 4 and 7. My cognition was returning closer to normal, but anxiety persisted, but much less intense. Then depression settled in and intensified over the next few hours. I believe it had to do with my insight I unknowingly had gained that night pre-retrospection on a subconscious level. 12:45 a.m. Again, yet another time this memory gap thing occurs. Why can't I remember anything now, but I was so aware then? It felt similar to dissociative amnesia caused by alprazolam, yet subtly distinct and much less solid in style. Well, around this time I felt so worn out and sluggish I went to bed. I had completely come down by then. It seemed short-lived, but my dose is considered quite low. Like I said, I slept poorly. My thoughts were overwhelming me, my analytical nature rebounded. I was forced to stay awake for an unknown duration, but I do remember I didn't fall asleep until around 4:30 a.m. No dream content I can recall. Conclusion. Overall, I am very intrigued with this atypical insight I received. I was also surprised how powerful my 100 milligram trip was. I didn't get much of an afterglow today except for a feeling of a light bounciness, for lack of a better description than what I had read on the wiki days prior to the trip. Would I try it again after this experience? Most likely not. Do not underestimate the power and potency of this substance. It is a powerful hallucinogen with psychedelic-like properties.